You may think manifestation doesn't work. You've followed all the advice, tried countless techniques, and yet the thing you want still hasn't shown up. But somehow, here you are, watching this video. Maybe it showed up on your homepage, maybe someone sent it to you, or maybe you typed something in search without knowing what would help. And yet you're here. That, in itself, is a manifestation. It's proof that something inside you reached out and pulled this moment into your reality. The same power that brought you here is the exact force capable of bringing everything else you desire. The question is not whether manifestation works. The question is, what are you actually doing when you think you're manifesting? At the root of most failed manifestations is a fundamental misunderstanding of what the law of assumption really is. People become trapped in cycles of doing, repeating affirmations like rituals, hopping from one video to the next in search of a magical phrase or technique. It creates a sense of striving, a chasing energy, a subtle but powerful declaration that I don't have it yet. And if the internal reality is constantly echoing that lack, then the external world, which is only ever a mirror, reflects that same lack right back. You can't convince the mirror to change its face. You must change yours first. What most people miss is that manifestation is not about effort. It's not about trying harder. It's not even about techniques. The real essence lies in becoming, stepping into the identity of the version of you who already has the thing. The moment you stop reaching and start dwelling in the end, the shift begins. That doesn't happen by accident. It happens through inner alignment, not external force. You didn't stumble across this message. Your inner being brought you here because it's time to remember how the mirror really works. The mistake many fall into is subtle but persistent. Trying to manifest becomes a daily task, a mental checklist. Affirm morning, visualize night, stay positive in between. But underneath this routine lies tension, a quiet urgency, a whisper that says, it's not here yet, I need to do more. That internal state, more than any words or vision boards, becomes the true affirmation, not the one you speak aloud, but the one you live. You cannot force a flower to bloom by shouting at the soil. It unfolds because the conditions within support its becoming. In the same way, your manifestation arrives when the internal conditions align. The law of assumption isn't about commanding the external. It's about harmonizing with the frequency of already having. If you keep asking, why isn't it here yet? The answer often lies in another question. Where have you been dwelling internally? Techniques can help, but only when they spring from joy, not desperation. Visualization is powerful when it feels like a return home, not a task. Affirmations work when they're declarations of truth, not desperate pleas. If you're using the tools with an energy of trying, you're declaring to the universe, this isn't real yet, but you must live as if it already is. Otherwise, you are merely rehearsing lack. Everything you experience in your outer world reflects your inner state. This principle is ancient and endlessly echoed. As within, so without. Consider the parable of the mirror. If you were to stand in front of it and try to manually adjust the reflection, perhaps pulling on its arm or pushing its shoulder, you'd find it impossible. The only way the reflection can change is if you change yourself. And yet, when it comes to life, people forget this completely. They attempt to fix things out there, obsessing over actions, responses, results, checking messages to see if he or she texted back, refreshing the bank account to see if the money came in. But each of these acts is an admission of separation, a silent agreement that the desired reality isn't present. In that moment, the mind is no longer dwelling in the end, it's dwelling in doubt. The shift happens when you stop asking the mirror to smile first. When you become the one who smiles, the reflection cannot help but follow. So long as you define yourself by what hasn't arrived, the mirror remains unchanged. The only job is to step into the identity of the person who already has it. Not pretend, not hope, be, and the mirror, ever obedient, rearranges accordingly. Manifestation is not a matter of invention. It is a process of alignment. You are not tasked with creating a reality from nothing, as though it were absent until your will brought it into being. Every potential reality already exists. The only role you play is one of selection. Like turning the dial on a radio, you are tuning your consciousness to a frequency already playing. You are not inventing the music, you are aligning with the station, the life you desire, the relationship you long for, the wealth you envision. All of it is available right now, as states of consciousness awaiting embodiment. Once that internal shift is made, the external cannot resist its command. Imagine for a moment a gallery of infinite portraits. Each one is a version of you, some thriving, others struggling. The brushstrokes differ, but they are all painted from the same canvas, your consciousness. When you choose to embody the identity of the version who already has what you desire, you are selecting a painting from the wall and stepping inside it. The frame does not change first. The background does not arrange itself beforehand. You, the observer, must first step into the role, and only then does the scene adjust to accommodate your presence. This is not about fixing what's broken or chasing what's lost. It's about choosing which version of yourself to animate. Letting go of the need to create allows space for trust. The tighter you grip the steering wheel, the more resistance you feel. But selection requires stillness, not passivity, but presence. A quiet knowing that your chosen reality is already established, simply waiting for your acceptance. Effort in this context becomes interference. The one who knows they've already arrived doesn't rush. They don't look back to check if the door closed behind them. They move forward, anchored in identity, unattached to when or how the outer confirms it. And in doing so, reality conforms not because it was forced, but because the mirror has no choice. It can only reflect what is. True manifestation begins where effort ends and embodiment begins. Dwelling in the feeling is not a performance. It is a state of being. It means allowing yourself to marinate in the emotional reality of your desire as if it were already yours, without resistance, without condition. The mind often asks, "What should I think?" But the deeper question is, what do I feel to be true? The feeling of the wish fulfilled is not manufactured, it's remembered. It is a return to an inner knowing that what you seek is not foreign to you. It's familiar, natural, and inevitable. Feelings are the language of the subconscious mind, and the subconscious governs the world you experience. When you dwell in the inner world as the version of yourself who already has the thing you desire, you are speaking directly to the subconscious in its own tongue. You are imprinting a new identity, not through logic, but through resonance. No technique, no affirmation, no visualization can override the power of felt truth. And so, the task is simple. Enjoy the feeling. Let it wrap around you like a warm garment. Let it become your emotional home. You do not need to sustain it 24/7. Even brief but sincere immersions are transformative when repeated in a spirit of joy rather than effort. The ancient mystics spoke of the heart as the true altar, and they were not wrong. Feeling is prayer in motion. When you allow yourself to bask in the satisfaction of already being, already having, already living the life you desire, you are making your internal world magnetic. Reality cannot help but reorganize itself around that center. You become like a lighthouse, radiating, not chasing. There is no need to grasp or demand. The outer world bends to match the inner signal, and your job is only to keep that signal consistent, clear, and genuine. When it feels good to dwell there, you won't be tempted to look for evidence. You'll know you've already become it, and the rest is merely catching up. Dwelling in imagination means remaining anchored in certainty. But too often, the mind wanders. It looks for signs, for evidence, for bridges of incidents. Every glance outside searching for proof is a moment lost from the inner dwelling. It's a return to lack, a silent whisper to the universe, "I'm not sure yet." When the seed is planted, no farmer digs it up daily to check on the roots. Growth happens in silence. Trust is what allows the unseen to unfold. Searching for signs is like demanding fruit from a tree you haven't watered. The only thing you must water is the feeling. Let that be the nourishment. Let the outer world handle its own blooming. Impatience is the enemy of embodiment. When you're in the feeling, when you're immersed in imagination simply because it feels good, signs become irrelevant. Ironically, they show up in abundance the moment you stop needing them. You do not have to chase evidence when you are the evidence. That shift in identity changes everything. At the core, manifestation is breathtakingly simple. Assume the state, live in the feeling, enjoy it, and the mirror responds. It is not work. It is not a grind. It does not demand exhaustion or relentless effort. The moment you feel like you're trying too hard, you've already left the state. Selection is effortless. Imagination is natural. Feeling is immediate. Let go of methods as rituals and return to them as doorways. Techniques are only tools to return to the state. They are not the power itself. You are. The I am is the source of all transformation. Align that identity, and the world cannot help but comply. So now, the only question worth asking, who are you being? Not in words, but in feeling. If the inner world is your true home, then let it be one of joy, peace, abundance. Dwell there long enough, and reality reshapes itself without effort. You never had to chase, you only had to remember.